Hello everybody, in this video I have a mixed media scrapbook process to share with you with the Thompson's Craft Supplies design team. This layout is very much using the paper pad that came in my design team kit, the Hello Beautiful paper pad by the brand that I can't pronounce, but it will be linked if you want to check it out. The paper that I was using there, the background paper, is my favourite so far from this paper pad, like that cascading waterfall of flowers. I think it is so pretty, so I definitely wanted to use that. And then I've also taken some element sheets to fussy cut lots of embellishments with that, lots of little floral things. I'm not using the birds, any of the bird like icons, that's not the right word. I'm not cutting out any of the birds just because this is our butterfly layout, but I am cutting a fair few bits and pieces for that. You can see my picture there at the top left of a butterfly that landed on my arm. It was so precious and so special, and I already had my camera out because I was taking pictures of butterflies on our buddleia bush because there was like a gajillion on there, and then this little one landed on me and I was like, oh, I am so blessed. So I took about a bajillion photos of this one butterfly on my arm. I think this is my favourite of them, I think, but I did print off quite a few, so who knows. Anyways, with all the stuff that I wanted fussy cut and off to the side, I wanted to do a little bit of background stamping. The stamp set I'm using, I can't remember where it's from, I'm so sorry. It was a freebie from a magazine, but I can't remember what magazine, let alone what issue it was. I did look on the back of the packaging, but it didn't say, it just said the publishing company. You know, these publishing companies own like 4 or 5 of the Papercraft magazines. So anyways, if anyone knows, if anyone recognises the stamp set and wants to tell me so I can link it or something, that would be really helpful. But yeah, I just stamped some of the flowers on with some StazOn ink in the colour Dove Grey, so it would just be really light stamping in the background. And then here I'm doing some stenciling. This is with a Vicky Boutin stencil that was in my design team kit, and using some Prima paper texture paste and the Prima silicone brush. And then I'm just kind of taking a little palette knife and just taking off some of the stenciling just so it looks a little bit more rough and shabby chicy rather than the perfect square like that. And you saw a few minutes ago I was kind of marking the bottom 2 corners of my picture because I want to do everything directly underneath the picture, so there's another cascade of flowers and stuff coming from underneath the picture, kind of matching the rest of the layout, but I didn't want to go above the picture with any embellishments. So I wanted like inks dripping down that, and I started off using oxide ink in Victorian Velvet. It's not very drippy, that ink. It's quite what's the word, like viscous, is that the word? Like it's quite thick, it doesn't drip very well. So instead I got some oxide inks, like ink pads, smooshed them on a mixed media mat, added water, tried to do that and like just smoosh the layout straight on top of that. Also kind of didn't work. I kind of painted a little bit on with a brush. I got colour on there, but not the drippy effect. So I then chose some very runny inks. I've got Lindy's Starburst in Saltwater Taffy and Dilutions in Rose Quartz, and those made a much better drippy effect. When you first spray on the Rose Quartz, you can see there it's like, oh my goodness, that's way too pink, but it dries much lighter than that, thankfully, because I did have that moment of, oh, what have I done? But it's fine. So when I'm finally happy with my drippy effects, I'm just going to back my photo just with one simple layer here, just a scrap from that same paper pad, and I'm just ripping around that just so it has a nice ripped layer around it, going around the edge of that with the oxide. Again, this is Victorian Velvet again, just because that colour goes with pretty much everything. I think it must officially be my favourite oxide colour. Oh, there I was just showing you that little scrap of foam there. My cat, Conan, has this thing when he comes into my craft room. He likes to chew on craft foam. He doesn't eat it, he just chews on it and tugs at it and then spits it out again. I don't know what it is about it, but he's obsessed. I really need to move it, so because it's at his height where it's stored at the moment. But anyways, that's why I was showing you a little scrap of foam there. But yes, I've propped my picture up on some foam, and then I'm going to add my fussy cut elements underneath the photo, kind of trying to replicate the same effect that's in the background of the layout, but so it's a little more 3D. I started off sticking it down with the Prima gel, but I got really annoyed with that for some reason. I think because they're quite fiddly, and at the time I didn't have my favourite palette knife to use, which has like quite a thin end on it, so I moved instead to glossy accents, which work just as well. With all that mixed media behind them, it just needed something very, very strong to stick those bits down. All of them I've gone around the edges again with those, with that same oxide I went around the edges of the photo with, and then I'm just going to add a few flowers at the bottom as if they're sort of falling from the flowers that are more attached, kind of thing. Bringing in this Maggie Holmes sticker book here, again going around the edges of the stickers with the Victorian velvet, just so everything is all matchy-matchy, and adding a few butterflies to that because we needed butterflies on this layout because of the beautiful butterfly on my arm. Anyways, yeah, I think I go with 3 of those, and then I wanted to add my title. These I think are Amy Tangerine stickers, but I don't know how old they are. I've had them for a while. I wanted life is beautiful, which was just a phrase that was readily on there. The beautiful was like separate letters, so what I did was put the U and the T as the middle letters in the middle of the photo, and then build the rest of the word around it so it would be nice and centered. Had to move where I'd put the life because there was no room for is, so just had to move those 2 around, so it's just got those up the side and then the beautiful in the dead center. And some of those stickers, like some are under the photo, some are over it, just looking a bit, you know, I can't think of the exact word I want there, but more interesting is basically the point I'm trying to make there. And then I'm going to go around the whole layout again with the Victorian velvet, basically just so everything is edged with the same colour. A few cute little Tim Holtz clipping stickers with some sort of vaguely appropriate phrases and words. I can only see the big one that says learning to fly. I can't quite see what the others say. But then of course adding lots and lots of splatters, because it's kind of that effect, you know, like when there's butterflies everywhere. I don't know, it's very busy and pretty, there's all sorts of things going on, and adding lots of splatters and bits kind of helps convey that same effect, I think. So the splatters I'm adding are, again, Victorian velvet, surprise, surprise, back to the Dylusions Rose Quartz, and then also some gold Heidi Swap Colour Shine because, well, I've got gold on my title and I needed to add some more gold to the layout in general. And then once all my splatters are done, I'm going to go a little bit overboard with the Nouveau drops. Same reason though, for that, like, convey that busy, pretty effect, I suppose you could call it. The drops I'm using here are the Stone Drops in gold. They've got a different name, Gold Rush maybe, something like that. These ones are the Jewel Drops in Rose Water, I think, so slightly translucent, very, very pretty. And then, oh, I did it off screen, but I also finished with the Nouveau Dream Drops in Fairy Dust. All the correct names will be in the description box, I apologise. But yes, I went back and did those because I was like, I need a different colour, I need 3 colours of Nouveau Drops. But anyways, that is the layout complete. So thank you so much as always for watching. I will leave product links in the description box as well as a link to my corresponding blog post on the Thompson's Craft Supplies blog. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me down in the comments, and I'm going. Thanks again. Bye bye.